Pokemon Platinum is one of my favourite games, and watching people trying to beat games with restrictions has become one of my favourite ways to spend time. While playing my most recent playthrough, I wondered if it was possible to beat the game while avoiding every battle possible. This would mean we would get very underleveled near the end, and some beginner sections seemed near impossible, but I decided I was going to give this a try and see if it can be done. So the question here today is, can you beat Pokemon Platinum while avoiding all possible battles? So let's go over the rules of this run. All battles, both trainer and wild, must be avoided unless either mandatory battles such as trainers blocking the route to progress, or for story progression such as catching Pokemon to use as HM slays. Normal items are not allowed to be used in battles such as healing items or stat boosting items, but hold items such as berries are allowed. Trading over Pokemon items or TMs are not allowed, but trading to evolve Pokemon we have access to like Porygon is allowed. So if we faint to a trainer, then we must restart the battle to avoid us getting experience. This prevents us from repeatedly fainting against trainers to gain experience. Only one species of Pokemon is allowed on our team. For example, we can't have multiple Shieldons from the underground to use on our team. HM Slays are not allowed to be used in battle. So with these rules in place, let's get started and see if we can beat Pokemon Platinum while avoiding every possible battle. There is also a small area in the corner of this video that will be updated with the total number of all the trainers we have faced, to see how few trainers we need to defeat to beat the game. So the first thing to do was to get an even trainer ID. The reason for this is that the last digit of the trainer ID will determine what fossil you can get in the underground. So if it ends in an odd number, it's Trainer Dust, and if it ends in an even number, it's Shieldon. And for this run, I went to Shieldon for its Vulcan typing. When it comes to picking our starter, we choose Turtwig for this run. The reason why is that Turtwig has access to very good moves for this challenge. In fact, every move Turtwig learns is useful at some point, but we will discuss those later on. Another reason why we picked Turtwig is because it has a great matchup vs most gyms, unlike the other starters which have problems with either the first gym or the second gym. The nature I wanted for Turtwig was neutral natured, because having anything lowered would have an impact at some point in the run. The annoying thing about this was, before we can see Turtwig's nature, we have to first battle our rival and then have a short talk with our mum, which is time consuming. Thankfully, we can win this first battle easily, and we get a nature we want after just a few attempts. On the way to Gem Town, we pick up a potion, and picking up items is something we'll be doing a lot to save money, since money will be a lot harder to come by in this run. After getting to Gem Town, we speak with Professor Rowan, exit the lab, and get TM27, which is Return. This is a TM that is crucial to this run, and one of the reasons I picked Platinum over Diamond or Pearl. We talk to Dawn on the next route and get Pokeballs, which we then use to catch a Bidoof and a Starly, which we need as HM slays. Thankfully, all trainers can be battled on the route to Jubilife City, which lets us grow to level 8 and brings the total trainer count to 4. At Jubilife City, the first thing we do is get a quick claw from one of the buildings. This is a great item throughout the run, and vital at a few points. It also makes battles like the upcoming rival battle much easier. We catch a Bidoof, which is the last HM slave we will need for a while. Then we can receive a tower map from our rival, and after that, go and find all 3 clowns to get a poster sketch, and open up the next route. Unfortunately, the route where we caught Bidoof all had avoidable trainers, so we don't get a chance to grind before our next rival battle. The rival battle is hard, because not only are we at a low level, but we don't have any other moves or advanced strategies. Starly has Growl and Quick Attack, and both moves are equally as bad. Growl means we can't do enough damage to Chimchar in time before fainting, and Quick Attack means we don't have enough HP to beat Chimchar. Now since Starly will mostly use Growl, this means that we have to rely on critical hits in order to win. It's a shame that we will have to resort to this so early in the run, but there really is no other way. Quick Claw is very helpful here as it allows us to attack before Starly, which means we can potentially knock it out with a critical hit, or do more damage before the Growl. Chimchar is a problem because after 5 or 6 growls, we don't do enough damage. But since Chimchar loves to do Leer, we can hope for a critical hit before it starts doing strats. So after a few attempts, I get lucky and can take down Chimchar after a critical hit, bringing our total trainer count up to 5. Turtwig also learns Absorb during this battle, which is crucial for the upcoming gym. Since we can avoid all trainers in Route 203, we just pick up the items and progress into Orbital Gate. Here we get our first HM, which is Rock Smash, which we teach to Badoo, and since we can avoid all the trainers here, we just go straight to Orbital City. Before going through the mine, we pick up a few items at the dirt pile, including the Heart Steel, which we will need later on. In the Orbital mine, we avoid all trainers and go straight to Rock, who demonstrates Rock Smash and leaves, allowing us access to the gym. We avoid all trainers in the gym and head straight for Rock. Now this battle isn't difficult, but we do need to be careful. His first 2 Pokemon aren't an issue, but his trainer dodge hits too hard for Turtwig to deal with, and we don't do enough damage with Absorb. So the plan here is to set up with Withdraw on Geodude, and get my HP back with Absorb on both Geodude and Onix. At this point, Trainer Dodge won't be able to kill us in time, even if it dies through Leer to lower our defense, giving us our first gym badge. So, with Rock defeated, that brings our total trainer count up to 6, and Turtwig learns Razor Leaf, which is a much better stab move than Absorb, and also a necessary move for getting us through the next roadblock. When we get to Jubilee City, we face King Galactic for the first time, but this isn't a hard fight, and thanks to Razor Leaf, we win without any trouble, bringing our total trainer count up to 8. As discussed before, we can avoid all trainers on this route, so we go straight to the Raven path, and with Rock Smash can now proceed to the next area of the route. Before we do, however, we pick up TM39, which is Rock Tomb, another key move that will help us get through the game. On the other side of the route, we can still avoid every trainer, so we head straight for Faroma Town. Here we pick all the berries here as well as the ones in the next route, because we will need most of these later on. We then go to Valley Windworks and face the grunt outside. Hypnosis does make this fight more annoying, but we win and he locks himself inside. This brings our total trainer count up to 9. We head to Faroma Meadows to get the other key and have to deal with 2 annoying grunts. The hard part about this is you have to face one after the other without having a chance to heal. Stunky isn't a problem unless it gets lucky with Fury Strikes after Screech or Gas Poison Gas. The Zubats aren't too bad, but we need to make sure Turtwig has enough HP to deal with them, which brings our total trainer count up to 11. After getting the key, we head back to the Valley Windworks, avoid all trainers and go straight for Mars. Now Mars took the longest time to beat in this run. I was expecting her to be a roadblock, but I didn't expect it to be as bad as it was. Her Zubat is awful for Turtwig to deal with, and if I get past that, Pregly will easily deal with our remaining HP. I initially started with Quick Claw, but that wasn't working out for me. You see, Mars runs Toxic on her Zubat, and if we get badly poisoned, it's almost guaranteed to end our attempt. So while Quick Claw would be helpful for Pregly, it's just not worth running if we can't get past Zubat in the first place. Even if we did get past without being poisoned, which did happen on a few occasions, Quick Claw then still has to work in the first place. Oran Berry is a nice item, but suffers the same with being badly poisoned. However, we did pick up a Pizza Berry as well, which removes it just once. So we have to hope Zubat doesn't land Toxic twice, but that's a bit better than having to hope Zubat doesn't land Toxic at all. Bite has a modest flinch rate, and getting flinched even once will end our run if we don't have enough HP to deal with Pregly. Leech Life is also bad, as enough Leech Life will give Zubat an extra turn to attack, meaning that we risk being badly poisoned, flinched, or take more damage, or just risk being critted in general, which Zubat got plenty of times. So this means that all the moves Zubat has are awful. This is all made worse by the fact that we can't knock out Zubat straight away. We need to set out 2 withdrawals, or we can't deal with Pregly. Because Tackle doesn't do enough damage, we have to teach Turtwig Return, but even then, it's a 4-hit KO in most cases, so Zubat takes 6 turns before it's knocked out, and because it's faster, gets to attack 7 times. This means we have to hope Zubat doesn't poison us twice, flinch us, constantly use Leech Life, or crit for us even to have a chance at winning this battle. Should we get past all of that, we have to deal with Porygon next. Now Porygon always does fake out to flinch us and deal more damage, and then does either scratch or feint attack. Feint attack is the move we want because it deals less damage, meaning we have a better chance of not being 2-hit KO with our remaining HP. As if this battle couldn't get any more situational, we have to land 2 Razor Leaves on Porygon, and the second one must be a critical hit. In addition, we have to be in overgrow range for both Razor Leaves. Add all of this up, and it's an extremely hard battle. Everything needs to go our way. What made this worse was Porygon lost to land critical hits. In fact, Porygon got more critical hits in general than I did with Razor Leaves, which has a high crit ratio. So after a few hours, I finally managed to get lucky and beat Mars, which puts our total trainer count at 12. Turtwig also learns Curse, which is easily the best move in this run by far. Boosting attack and defense is extremely good, and is what will save us in later battles as battles get harder and we get more and more under leveled. Combine that with the support moves from other Pokemon that we get later on, and Curse is the center of our strategy for winning them. We can avoid all trainers on the next route, so we head straight into Eterna Forest. There, we join up with Cheryl and get forced into the hardest double battle in this run. This double battle is hard for a number of reasons. Firstly, Chansey, which is Cheryl's only Pokemon, can't do much damage to other Pokemon, and the other Pokemon are huge issues for Turtwig. Pachirisu is bulky for the attacking stats that Turtwig has, and can charm us to make sure we lose the battle. It can also paralyze with Spark, which can make life difficult. It also has Bide, to make it risky to attack. The Bide Catcher has 3 Pokemon, and all of them are a pain. They each have Poison Sting, which has a modest poison chance, and being poisoned makes this very hard to win. But the main issue here is Beautifly. Beautifly has Dust, and it does a huge amount to Turtwig, easily a 2-hit KO. We also don't do much back with Return. So the plan here is to leave Pachirisu alive until last, and target the Bug Catcher first. We knock out Wormbolt, and then set up on Silcoon with 2 curses. This allows us to 2-hit KO Beautifly, so as long as it doesn't use Dust twice in a row, or Quick Claw activates, we can win this battle. Now Turtwig tries to evolve, but we don't allow it to. This is because not evolving means Turtwig will learn new moves faster, and up until it learns Leech Seed, we will prevent it from evolving every level. Having earlier access to moves is more beneficial than the better stats for evolving. The only other forced battle in Eterna Forest is a battle with 2 sidekicks who both send out Abra, which being frail, have no chance against Razor Leaf. When we get to the end of the forest, we get the Soothe Bell, which is great for making Turtwig's Return deal more damage sooner in the game. After we exit the forest, we avoid all trainers and head straight for Astoria City. We take the underground kit and then head straight underground, because this is where we will get our next Pokemon, Shieldon. While searching for the armor fossil, we also keep an eye out for any heart scales, because we will need several of them for this run. After we find the armor fossil, we dig up all remaining treasure for heart scales, or other handy items such as the Hearthstone, and then exit the underground. Now usually, people will take the cycling route before to Astoria City, but that requires Jupiter defeated, and we want Shieldon sooner than that. So what we do is we go all the way back through the forest and the other cities to take the first route we came by. The nature we want for Shieldon, like Turtwig, is a neutral nature. Or some of you may be thinking that having special attack or speed lowered would be better. Lowering special attack means we do less damage for ancient power, and lowering speed means Rock Tomb, which is a TM we picked up earlier, could possibly take more hits before Shieldon outspeeds opposing Pokemon. We then head all the way back to Astoria City and take on the gym. Now we have to battle all the gym trainers in the gym, which allows us to get some experience before taking on the gym leader. Now she isn't a hard gym leader, but she is time consuming with how long attempts take. She leads with Turtwig and does Reflect, meaning we do little damage with Bite. So the plan here is to set up Curse 6 times and then 2-hit KO with Bite. However, we also need to time that when we knock out Turtwig, Reflect wears off, or it gets very luck based to take down Roserade. Roserade does a ton of damage with Medical Leaf, but it can also opt for Sunspore. If Quick Claw doesn't activate here or Sunspore doesn't miss, then we need it to work for Cheron. While having Shieldon would be nice in this battle near the end, I need Turtwig to get all the experience for itself. Cheron isn't a problem, but we usually have very little HP remaining, which makes it more difficult. So eventually Quick Claw manages to work on the last turn, with Turtwig having just 1 HP, allowing us to outspeed Cheron and win, putting our total trainer count up to 20. We then head straight for the Team Galactic building. We can avoid all trainers here and head straight for Jupiter, who I surprisingly beat on my first try in this run. She is also the reason why I needed Shieldon, as her Zubat has Wind Attack, which makes it impossible to solo her with Turtwig. With Shieldon, however, we can dispatch it in just 2 Rock Tombs. As for stun count, we first do Iron Defense to help us live longer, despite the risk of a Night Slash crit, and then try and land as many Rock Tombs as possible. This is so Turtwig can still outspeed after some curses. Things seem a bit bad when it decides to use Smoke Screen, causing us to miss a lot of Rock Tombs, but we land a critical hit which makes up for it. Due to the low HP stun count has, I don't even bother with Curse and go straight for Return, and land 2 critical hits in a row, possibly as redemption for what happened with Mars and Perugly. We then get access to a bike and prepare to head out on the next route. Now, unfortunately, we haven't seen enough Pokemon to get the experience share just yet, and to make it worse, once we head down this route, we will be unable to return without battling a trainer, meaning we won't be able to get the experience share until we get Fly, which is after the 4th gym. Also, as you may have noticed, we haven't been too underleveled so far, but that is about to change rapidly from this point onwards. We are able to pass by the next 3 routes without battling all but 1 trainer, which leaves us quite a few levels under for Fantina. But before we cater on, we need to pick up our next Pokemon, which is Eevee. Now Eevee is helpful in a number of ways. Even before it evolves, it has access to moves like Sand Attack and Growl, making it easier for Turtwig to set up. For the nature, we needed a timid nature for what Eevee was going to evolve into. What made this long was the fact that VV talks for ages, and it's a 1 in 25 chance to get the nature we want. After almost half an hour, we finally get the Eevee we want. With Eevee, we can now take on the next gym. We can avoid all trainers here as well, so we head right to Fantina. Now for the most situational part about this battle, is trying to set up on Duskull. I used to try and set up on Miss Magnus, but that didn't work out so well. It's much easier to set up on Duskull, but we have to make sure it doesn't burn Turtwig. So to do this, we use Sand Attack as much as possible, and then use Growl to lower its attack, so if it does choose to attack Turtwig instead, it deals less damage. We then have to use Curse 6 times, so Bite will 1-hit KO Miss Magnus. If we don't get burned before we knock out Duskull, then we reach the next problem. Shadow Ball does a huge amount of damage to Turtwig, almost 1-hit KO in it, but it can also make life difficult with Confuse Ray, which has a 50% chance to make us hurt ourselves. And if that happens, we will lose. At plus 6, Haunter isn't a problem, so it's just the first 2 Pokemon we need to look out for. So I get past Duskull, or get burned right as I knock it out, but Miss Magnus does Confuse Ray, and I manage to land Bite, and then Quick Claw works and we get through Confusion a second time, this time snapping out of Confusion, learning Mega Drain in the process. Now, learning Mega Drain in this battle was a bit of an issue, as we needed to forget it for Bite, but we still needed Bite for Haunter. I ended up forgetting Bite regardless because I was at plus 6, and the fact that Haunter can only use Sucker Punch. Razor Leaf is able to 2-hit KO in the second hit with Overgrow range, giving us our first gym badge. Unfortunately, right after this battle, we have another hard battle waiting for us, which is a battle against our rival. Now, if it wasn't obvious how underleveled I was starting to get, it should be in this fight. He leads with a level 25 Starivia, and it's a huge issue. We can't knock it out with Shieldon, because then he sends out Monferno, which can hit every member of our team for super effective damage. So we have to somehow set up on Starivia with Turtwig, and this is made much more difficult due to the fact that Starivia knows and likes to spam double team, which makes it harder to hit. The plan here is to set up as many Sand Attacks as possible with Eevee, and then if I haven't fainted, to use Growl until I do. Then I send out Turtwig and Curse 6 times so I can deal with Monferno. What makes this hard is when the attack does a huge amount of damage. Just landing 2 or 3 hits will end our attempt. When we get past Arivia, however, then the rest of his team is no problem due to our boosted stats, and after winning this fight, we get access to the most important route in the game. Why is the next route the most important one? Well, let's go over our rules once again. We can't have any optional encounters, but we can for HM slays. Now we are going to set a Pokemon for a few other HMs that our team can't learn, and the Pokemon in particular for this is Chansey. Why Chansey? Well, because Chansey has a chance of holding the lucky egg, and that item is what makes this run possible. The problem is, finding Chansey is rare, being just 5%, and there's a further 5% chance that it's holding the lucky egg. This means that there's basically a 1 in 400 chance, and that's not including how hard it is to catch. So while we can't use Chansey in battle, the item it's holding is fine for us to use. If the Chansey we catch doesn't come holding the lucky egg, then we have to reset. So after about 3 hours of searching in the grass, we finally find a Chansey holding the lucky egg, and with that we can progress further into the route. In this route, there is only 2 trainers we need to face, and it's a double battle. So we give Eevee the lucky egg, and then use Eevee in Turtwig, so Eevee is able to gain some experience. This brings our total trainer count up to 26, which is just over a quarter of the trainers we need to beat the game. We head straight for the ruins to pick up items including HM05 Defog. Now while Defog is a HM, it is an optional one, meaning we can't run into any trainers. Thankfully, we can avoid all trainers here while picking up all items. We then head to the next route, avoid all trainers, and let's see the start of a new route where we have a trainer battle. This battle is annoying because we can't do any move that Bronzion doesn't exist, but we win this battle in just a few attempts. Now in this route, we pick up TM34, which is Shockwave, and this is where things change. Originally, I was going to evolve Eevee into Espeon, but due to Psychic being a TM only available in the game corner, and EU versions of Platinum not letting you play the game corner, I was considering other options. So because we picked up a Thunderstone in the ruins and now have access to Shockwave, I decided to evolve Eevee into Jolteon and teach it Shockwave. Now since Jolteon has actual attacking stats unlike Turtwig, we are able to beat the remaining 2 trainers on this route without any issues, and thanks to the lucky egg, Jolteon is able to grow 3 levels on this route before we enter Bellstone City. In Bellstone City, we get a new member of our team, which is Porygon, and part of our strategy for our 4th gym badge. We then enter the Bellstone gym, and we have to face one other trainer before we can get to Maylene. Maylene is similar to Fantina, but not as difficult, because while setting up on Meditite is harder than setting up on Duskull, Lucario isn't as much of a problem as Miss Magnus was. The plan here is the same, Sandacat, Growl, and then set up with Turtwig. But because Meditite has Fake Out, we lead with Porygon, so Jolteon doesn't take additional damage. We can also go Shieldon after Jolteon in order to Metal Sound and Rot Tomb, which allows Turtwig to get more curses out before being outsped, and also lets Medidrain do a lot more damage, giving us more HP for Lucario. With the amount of HP we get thanks to Medidrain, we can easily 3-hit KO Lucario, and because of our boosted stats, Mitote doesn't do enough damage despite us being at low HP, and is 1-hit KO'd by Razor Leaf. Turtwig also learns Leech Seed in this fight, and this is the last move I need Turtwig to learn early, so it can now evolve into Growl, as we earn our 4th gym badge. We head to the department store and get TM25, which is Thunder, and teach it to Jolteon. This is a great move and hits extremely hard, twice as strong actually as our next strongest move, which is Shockwave. With this, we easily deal with the 2 grunts, which brings our total up to 33, which is a third of all the trainers we need to beat. We also get access to HM02 Fly. With Fly, we can backtrack and get the experience set, which we then give to Shieldon. The reason why is because we need Bastiodon for Candice, so it's a good idea to start leveling up Shieldon now, since Grotto and Jolteon can win battles for themselves. Now, there are 2 routes to Astoria City, and one has significantly more forced battles than the other. But since we have to choose a path, I was planning to go down Route 206 to get more experience. But turns out that's impossible, because to get to Astoria City via Route 206, you have to get to Astoria City the other way first, which makes no sense and we lose out on a lot of experience. So we head to Route 214, and between this area and the next two, there is only one trainer we have to face before we reach Astoria City. In Astoria City, we have to face our rival again, who starts off with a level 34 Starevia, which is several levels higher than Grottle, our strongest Pokemon. We are able to 2-hit KO it with Shockwave, and what should happen is this should be an impossible fight to win, as Monferno is level 36 and can 1-hit KO every member of our team. However, this assumes that our rival isn't stupid, which he is, because for some reason, he will always send out Weasel next, which makes no sense, but we use that to our advantage. Like we did for the previous rival fight, we just use Sand Attacks and Growls which allow us to set up on it with Curse, and then Grottle just sweeps through the rest of the team. With the rival out of the way, we enter the gym, and thankfully this gym forces us to face a lot of trainers, so both Grottle and Jolteon are able to grow several levels in here thanks to their lucky egg. Shieldon can also grow levels here thanks to their experience share. Crash Awake is an easy fight. We just Thunder with Jolteon for Gyarados, and then set up with Curse and Leech Seed and Quagsire, so we can deal with Floatzel later on. And so we get our 5th gym badge. We chase down the grunt who blew up the lake, and get the secret potion from Cynthia to progress to Celestic Town. On the way there, we have to battle a few trainers, but only the first one is any issue due to her having the cursed Grottle as well. On the way there, our Grottle evolves into Torterra and learns Earthquake, which is a useful move at any point in the game. We beat another Galactic Grunt in Celestic Town and take on Cyrus for the first time. The plan here is to land one Metal Sound and then switch out to Jolteon so Thunder will 1-hit KO. After that, his Golbat and Murkrow will also get 1-hit KO by Thunder, so this is an easy fight, and we are rewarded with HMO3 Surf. We also catch a Bibarel to teach Surf too. We face our rival at Canalai City, and once again he fails to use Infernape as soon as we knock out Staraptor, and at this point, you know how this ends. We set out to +6 and then we sweep his entire team without any problems. So we head to Iron Island to pick up strength, and then we enter the Canalai gym. Like with Astoria, this gym forces you to face a lot of trainers, which allows Torterra and Shieldon to grow several levels. The only annoying gym trainer is an Ace trainer with 3 Bronzors, but even then it's not too difficult. After that trainer, we then take on Bryron. Now Bryron isn't a difficult trainer, but we do need him to act in a specific order. We don't want Magnicon to do anything other than Metal Sound, and we need Steelix to not use Ice Band right away, because otherwise Torterra gets knocked out. However, we get really lucky and have a double Ice Band miss, which allows us to deal with Steelix and have almost 4 HP left for Bastiodon. Bastiodon isn't a threat as long as you know its moves beforehand. We Leech Seed straight away to have a short of recovery before it dies Taunt, and then we keep using Razor Leaf until Taunt wears off. This is because Bastiodon has a Metal Burst, so using Earthquake would work against us if it doesn't knock it out. The time Taunt does wear out, it is in Earthquake range, and upon victory, we get not only our 6th gym badge, but also our very own Bastiodon as well. And with all of those trainers defeated, we are now more than halfway through all the forced battles to end this run. We witness Lake Valor being blown up and head straight there. Inside the lake, we can avoid all grunts, so we head straight for Saturn. Despite Jolteon's good special attack and access to Thunder, it's still a rule to 1-hit KO Golbat. After Golbat, he sends out Toxicroak, which also has the rule to be 1-hit KO by Earthquake. But instead of risking that, we just weaken it beforehand with Shockwave. His Bronzor, as with all Bronzors, is annoying, but with Leech Seed it isn't able to take us down. We then head to the next lake and have to do a double battle against some grunts. We use Jolteon and Bastiodon for this since Torterra has got a lot of XP recently, and while this does make the battle harder, we still win relatively easily. As for Mars, her team is similar to Saturn, having a Dorbat and a Bronzor, but she sends out Bronzor right after Dorbat. This lets us set up on it with Leech Seed and Curse, and we can just Earthquake Pregley to 1-hit KO it. So our next stop is Route 216, and to get there, we take the route via Celestic Town. We can avoid all but one trainer on Route 216, but this trainer is a sign of things to come. She has a level 42 Tropius, which is 10 levels higher than some members of our team. In fact, even the wild Pokemon in this area now are level Rs, so there is no point using repels. Thankfully, there is a house in Route 216 that does allow us to heal our Pokemon. The first trainer on Route 217 is a problem, and has 2 level 40 Pokemon for us to deal with, one of them being a Magma. but with a combination of Metal Sand and Thunder, we can deal with it. We then pick up our next HM, which is Rock Climb, and go to the end of the route where there is another trainer we can't avoid. This trainer, however, is much easier to deal with. We arrive at Snowpoint City and enter the gym. Now initially this gym was confusing in the sense that I wasn't sure how many trainers I actually needed to face to get to Candice, but I was able to narrow it down to just one trainer. Before we face Candice, however, we have some preparation to do. We exit the gym and fly to Astoria City and teach Torterra Woodhammer at the move reminder. We also get TM06 Toxic and teach that to Bastardon. In addition, we hold the big root on Torterra and Citrus Berries and Jolteon and Bastardon. We also get Togepi at the PC. So, let me explain what all this is for. Candice is hands down the hardest trainer in this run. Sure, it's mastered the longest time, but overall, if we count the number of hours I did off stream via Candice before I decided to record this run, it was easily triple the time I spent on Mars. If you thought the battle vs Mars was situational, you were right, but this battle takes it to ridiculous levels. So let's get started on what makes this battle the hardest in the game. Firstly, setting up with Torterra is extremely difficult, as not only are we under leveled, but Candice is an ice type gym leader, which is times more effective against Torterra. Even at plus 6, we still get 2 hit KO from full HP, and that's not even including how difficult it is to get to plus 6. What makes this difficult is the fact that Sneasel has Faint Attack, meaning we can't use Sand Attack with Jolteon. So in this battle, we can't rely on misses, so we have to growl as many times as possible before we faint. Then we have to Leech Seed and then try and set up with Curse to plus 6, while Leech Seed heals us more than normal, because Torterra is holding the big root. Now this may sound simple, but this means we have to go 13 turns without Sneasel landing one critical hit on us, and this is one of the easiest parts of the battle. Now I get extremely lucky in this battle and manage to crit a Bomber Snow as it goes for Avalanche with Earthquake. But I'll talk about what the reason was that made a Bomber Snow so hard and usually the main Pokemon that ended my run. A Bomber Snow isn't one hit KO by Earthquake, not even at plus 6, and 2 hit KOs with Avalanche or Focus Blast. The plan here is to have a Bomber Snow either do Focus Blast the first turn and Avalanche the second, Avalanche twice or have Focus Blast twice but one of them misses. But we got past the Bomber Snow, which brings us to the most frustrating part of the battle. Frostlass has Snow Cloak, which is activated by a Bomber Snow Snow Warning, and has Double Team to make life even worse for us. We have to land a Toxic with Bastardon on the first few Double Teams or we will lose this battle. Thankfully we do, and then we can constantly switch around until Frostlass faints from poison damage. Piloswine is the easiest part of this battle, and it's also why we needed Woodhammer, since even a Razor Leaf crit doesn't one hit KO, but Woodhammer is able to, giving us our 7th gym badge. With it, we can access the lake and see our rival lose, probably due to not sending out Infernape when he should have done. We then head back to Veilstone and face 1 grunt in the warehouse and 3 in the HQ, all of which aren't an issue. Then we prepare to face off against Cyrus for the second time. This battle is a bit more difficult than the first, but not by much since we use Bastardon for Sneasel, and then Leech Seed Crobat with Torterra, which allows Bastardon to get back almost all of its HP. We then Toxic Concentrate, which allows it to be low enough for Jolteon to win with Thunder. Saturn is pretty much the same as before, just at a higher level. It's still a roll to one hit KO with Thunder, the same as Toxicroak and Earthquake, and once we Leech Seed Bronzor, we win. So we go to Mount Coronet and pick up 2 extremely important items. The first being TM Rock Polish, which we will need later on, and the second is the Black Flute from Looker, since repels are useless due to wild Pokemon being higher leveled. There are a few grunts on the way to the summit and on the summit themselves, but we push through and get to Mars and Jupiter. Now this fight wasn't that hard, but that was mainly because Mars and Jupiter loved attacking Barry. He was forced to use all 6 of his Pokemon by the time we won. Our strategy here is to Leech Seed both Bronzors, Thunder the Golbats, and then just Earthquake the Paradly and Skankank. Once again, this battle wasn't too difficult, but the next one will be. We watch as Cyrus.exe stops working, and then prepare to head into my favourite area of the game, the Distortion World. After a fun and interesting puzzle, we reach the bottom and face Cyrus for one last time. Now this battle is annoying because the battle only actually starts when Quick Claw activates for Torterra. This is because Houndoom will deal with every member of our team, so we need Torterra to act first and use Earthquake. We then need to act in a specific order to allow us to take down Weaver with Bastardon, with toxic damage and Rot Tomb without him healing. Past that, the fight gets a lot easier, as we just have to land a few Thunders with Jolteon, as his remaining Pokemon are all weak to Electric. We do play it safely as Crobat and use the same strategy we did last time with Leech Seed and Bastardon. With Cyrus out of the way, we can now take on Garantina. Now up until this point, Garantina was still a question mark in my mind. The rules were that we have to avoid all battles that weren't either mandatory or for story progression, and Garantina was in that area. So you could argue that I can catch it and use it, but I chose not to, since we have the option to just run. One of the main reasons was that I came this far with my current team, and wanted to see if they could go all the way. I knew Garantina's stats, typing and access to 2 moves that boost those stats, and how high of a level it was, that this run would be too easy and boring with it. I'll be able to surge the game with this Garantina from that point onwards, so that's why I chose to run. Attaching a legendary should only really be an option for Pokemon like Zekrom and Reshiram, where you can't run at all. In terms of our total trainer count now, we are well over 2/3 of the total amount of trainers we need to beat, and we head to Route 222. There is only one trainer here we need to fight before we can get to Astoria City. Once there, we go into the gym, and apart from 2 trainers, you have to battle all of them, which gives us some much needed experience. Then we face Volknar for our final badge. Now Volknar is a strange battle. You'd assume with Voltorb, Jolteon and Earthquake Torterra, it would be easy, but it was actually harder than it appears. There was also a case where Torterra, which was just 3 levels under his Jolteon, failed to one-hit KO it with Earthquake, and it wasn't a close fail either. The main issue here, however, is Raichu using Signal Beam, which does a lot of damage to Torterra, and puts it in range of Electivire. Luxray is also an issue with how much damage it does, and how lucky it got with its attacks, such as flinching and paralysing with Thunder Fan. The way to win in this is to one-hit KO Jolteon and Raichu with Earthquake, and then Toxic Luxray and switch around until it dies, and then Growl Electivire with Jolteon. This allows Bastardon to live a Thunder Punch, and then I can switch around more to ensure Torterra can one-hit KO the remaining HP with Earthquake, after living a Fire Punch thanks to Growl. With this, we have 8 badges in hand, and the end is in sight. The next area is the one before Victory Road. We get Waterfall from Jasmine, and then only have 1 trainer preventing us from getting there. At Victory Road, this is where things slow down a lot. The battles are a lot more difficult than normal, meaning after every battle we are forced to use an escape rope and hill. Now, I'm not going to cover every battle because we have to face 8 trainers, and I think the trainers everyone really cares about are the ones after, but they were all tough battles. We crawl out of Victory Road and make it to the leads. Before we face our rival for one final time, however, we have a little side quest to do. You know, I know, that with our current levels of a team being about level 45, we have no chance when Cynthia is waiting at the end of the line with our level 62 Garchomp. Now Sinnoh is littered with rare candies, 19 of them to be exact. So we first fly to different areas and pick up all 19 rare candies. We are going to need all 19 of them, but we won't distribute them evenly. Before we make any use of them, however, we take on our rival. He still doesn't send out Infernape, which makes it seem like it will be an easy fight, since Snorlax lets us curse with full HP thanks to Leech Seed and how much HP Snorlax naturally has. But his Infernape has changed since we last met. Instead of being physical, it's now mixed, and one of the mixed moves is Flamethrower, which we stand no chance against. We have to hope Quick Claw works, or we dice Focus Blast and misses. We do get Quick Claw to work fairly quickly, but things end at Roserade. When Barry said he had no reason to freak out and that he believed in it, Roserade responded with Grass Whistle, which caused us to then lose the battle. We do win after a few more tries, but this time paralysed due to Body Slam, so he couldn't be put to sleep. With our rival defeated, we are at the last and final roadblock before the leads, and our trainer count at 94. We put all HM Slayers in the PC, and prepare for the final 5 battles. We distribute the rare candies between Jolteon and Torterra. Not all of them, but 11. 6 to Jolteon and 5 for Torterra. I'll explain why later on. Then head to Astoria and forget Woodhammer for Razor Leaf, and Iron Defense for Metal Burst. We make sure we have enough healing items and enter the leads. We picked up TM78 Captivate as well during our hunt for rare candies, that we will use later on. We also buy some TMs such as Thunder and Lightscreen. With everything ready, we prepare to take on Aaron. Now for some reason, I had extremely poor luck versus Aaron. I always knew Thunder could miss, but I was not prepared for the amount of Thunder misses I had. There were occasions where I would miss 3 Thunders in a row. The worst part about Aaron was Heracross. Jolteon couldn't one-hit KO it, so the plan here was to hope it misses Megahorn, which is a 15% chance, or that it does close combat twice on Togepi and Porygon, which never happened. Even on the rare chance I got past Heracross, Respiquen also decided to avoid Thunder, and instead set out with Defend Order and Double Team, while ran out of Thunders due to pressure. In fact, Aaron actually took more time to beat by himself than every other Elite Four member and Cynthia. Eventually, Jolteon crit Heracross and then tricked Respiquen, before remembering to constantly miss again, making it extremely hard to deal with the remaining Pokemon, which were Scizor and Drapion. I set up Leech Seed on Scizor, and thanks to Metal Burst and Bastiodon, we can take out Scizor in 2 hits. As for Drapion, I land as many Rock Tombs as possible. This allows Torterra to outspeed and Earthquake to knock it out. With that horrible ordeal and the fear of having to redo it for each loss, I did it. I saved the lead, sealing my fate. So now we have to win. We can't let more items or remember old moves. We have to win now, so with this in mind, we head to Bertha. Now Bertha, as you probably expect, isn't a difficult fight. We just set up Leech Seed and Curse on Whiscash and you know the rest. Just Razor Leaf to sweep through her team, which is also the reason we needed Razor Leaf, as Wood Hammer would kill us from recoil damage. Now I think the question on everyone's mind was how I was gonna beat Flint, because all he has is Fire types and Jolteon can't deal with all of them alone. The answer was quite simple actually, and we don't even need Curse for this battle. Remember that TM we picked up in Mount Coronet? Yup, Rock Polish. At +2, we outspeed every member of Flint's team, and we one-hit KO each member with 1 Earthquake, which is why we use Rare Candies on Torterra. So we teach Torterra Rock Polish over Razor Leaf and teach Jolteon Light Screen. We lead with Jolteon and set up Light Screen on Houndoom, and then use Sand Attack to allow Torterra to get up 1 Rock Polish and sweep Flint with no problems. Lucian is the final Elite Four member, and here we use 4 Rare Candies for Bastiodon. Lucian leads Mr. Mime, and the plan here is to get a 6 Sand Attacks and Light Screen, so Torterra can endure 10 attempts of Psychic. This is because he doesn't switch Mr. Mime out when he can't damage Torterra, meaning that we can abuse Leech Seed to get up to full HP, as well as setting up with Curse and Rock Polish. Because of this, we are able to outspeed Espeon and one-hit KO it with Earthquake, after doing the same to Mr. Mime. Lucian then sends out Bronzong, and this initially was a huge problem, as with Carmine to set up, Great Bulk and access to Earthquake for Bastiodon, it really seemed like it had all bases covered. But with those 4 Rare Candies, we can live an Earthquake and one-hit KO back with Metal Burst. Then we use Jolteon's remaining HP to lower Galley's stats, set up again with Torterra, and one-hit KO both it and Alakazam. Now this is it. Just one trainer that stands between us and whether or not it's possible to beat Pokemon Platinum with only forced battles. We just the remaining 4 Rare Candies to Jolteon, and since it grew a level vs Aaron, this means it's now level 57 and learns Thunder Wave. We also teach it Captivate and teach Torterra Rock Slide over Leech Seed since we don't need it anymore. Now this fight is honestly really easy. We Captivate Spiritomb and then Thunder Wave it, then Captivate it twice more and then land 6 Sand Attacks. So at this point, even if it does land a hit on Torterra, it won't do anything. We then set out to both +6 with Curse and then +6 with Rock Polish, so to ensure we outspeed, as Darkjump still outspeeds at +4 somehow. We one-hit KO Spiritomb with Earthquake and then use Rock Slide to one-hit KO Togekiss, and the remaining Pokemon he has are all one-hit KO by Earthquake, proving that it is possible to beat Pokemon Platinum with only 40 battles, and leaving our total trainer count at 99, the pinnacle of double digits. Now this video took longer than I expected to come out, as despite loving Platinum and doing the initial recording, the editing for this video along with real life commitments made me feel a bit burned out towards the end. So I apologise if it felt that way. I'm also new to editing videos in general, so that will improve over time with better presentation. Despite everything, I did really enjoy doing this challenge run. There were a lot of tough moments, but thinking of a solution and overcoming it, especially through tough fights like Mars, Fantina and Candice, felt really rewarding. I do want to do more no battle challenges with the next game already planned, so please give your feedback on this and let me know if you enjoyed it, what I can improve on, which is probably a lot, and what game you prefer me to do, since I actually haven't started yet on the other game. Now for those who want the full uncut journey of this run, either out of interest or disbelief, all the individual videos will be uploaded shortly after this one, so please keep an eye out for them. Thank you so much for watching this. This video took the most effort out of all the other ones I've made, and hopefully I'll be back with a new game. So for the last time, is it possible to beat Pokemon Platinum with only 4 battles? The answer is yes.